Next game on the list is the Green Bay Packers at 3-3, traveling to Washington to take on the 2-4 Commanders. The Packers only 5-point favorites in this game with an over/under of 41.5. Aaron, I don't know if this is just me being naive or not being smart in terms of the gambling world or the odds maker world, but Packers only being favored by 5 points in this game kind of stands out to me. Do you think that that's kind of telling of what is to come in this game?
I don't want to say it's telling, but it's telling where the Green Bay Packers offense is right now. That there's not a lot of faith, not only from us as fans or us as analysts or us as just football people, but also the professional odds makers who do this for a living in handicap games. They don't see a lot in this Green Bay offense. Plus the injury to Aaron Rodgers' thumb. I really do think that the Green Bay Packers are going to continue to struggle for a while until they find out what they want to do offensively. And that directly relates to this game. Like, the Washington Commanders aren't a good football team. They're one of the worst in the NFL, but they're bringing in a new quarterback, and we don't know if Green Bay is who we thought they were. We can assume, we can hope they get things right. Aaron Rodgers can tell us to relax or we'll be all right if we, everybody just does their job and 11 guys work in unison, he said. And it's just always just one guy that's not doing his job. And it's not the same guy. It's always somebody different. But that's the problem. It's always somebody different. There is no cohesive unit there. So I think this line is conducive to the way these two teams have been playing. The low scoring over under at 41. They expect points to be a struggle in this one. It's on the road. I'll be honest. It's hard for me to get off of my opinions about teams that have done it over and over and over again. And we know this. I've lamented that. I've said it before. I still don't believe Green Bay is this bad. I do think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. I do think they're going to get things right, but I can't prove that right now because they're not. So they're going to have to do something different. They're going to have to get on the same page. I want to see more involvement from these wideouts. I wear it. Christian Watson coming back, hopefully. Romeo Dobbs, these young guys got to step up. It can't just be Allen Lazard, and it can't just be Tunyon. Like, it's got to be somebody else. Somebody's got to do something. Get Aaron Jones out in the passing game more. It's got to be a team effort, and hopefully this is the week we see them kind of get back to the way they did when they were with playing the Bears, and we can get some positivity going forward for their offense.
Yeah, I mean, I bring it up all the time. Last season, we talked about last season. I was not very down on the Chiefs, but we saw the Chiefs go through a lull where they were playing not the best football, and then even the media was down on them, saying that, oh, what's wrong with the Chiefs? What's going on? I mean, we remember last year. It was oh my God, the sky is falling with the Chiefs because they had some bad games. The difference between them and the Green Bay Packers this year is the Chiefs were still winning those games. They just weren't winning them in the fashion that we expected them to do. They were playing bad teams and they were close games, but they were winning. Well, the Packers are playing bad teams and losing these games. And that's not to discredit like the Jets and the Giants, but they're supposed to be bad teams. They're supposed to be lower level teams than what the Packers are supposed to be at. And they're losing those games. So it's not just them playing bad football and they're finding ways to win. They're not winning. They're playing bad. It's all of the above when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. So that's what, when I see this line, I'm like, man, this is a true telling sign of what we're seeing from the Packers this season. And it's against a Commanders team now with Taylor Heinicke starting at quarterback. Aaron, what are we expecting to see from Heinicke and this offense as a whole against a maybe pretty soft Packers defense? You're on mute, sir.
Sorry. I think we see the same Taylor Heinicke that we saw last year. This is a team that's very comfortable with him at quarterback. He threw for 3,500 yards. He had 20 touchdowns. I mean, this is a guy that's been in this league, played in a playoff game, and is very competent at quarterback. He played the Bucs tough 2 years ago in the playoffs. He went 7-8 a season ago. This is Carson Wentz-esque. Like, he can do what Carson Wentz was supposed to do with that team. I don't think there's that big of a difference. So I don't expect much to change for Washington, other than you might get, because it's in Washington, you might get a little pandemonium. You might get a little of the crowd egging because they love the Taylor Heinicke story. And obviously, it's not like Carson Wentz has come in and been a killer So they might give a little love to Taylor Heineke, especially when he throws his first touchdown, or if he does something positive. They're going to be calling for Taylor Heineke to be the full-time starter. And I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting because what happens if Taylor Heineke goes and wins Sunday? What happens if he wins a couple of games in a row? And then are we going to now say, hey, Taylor Heineke's the guy? Now Carson Wentz is back on the back burner? I'd be
It's an interesting thought because I mean we've talked about it a few times this season with different quarterbacks. I mean we talked about it with Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush. Oh, like, oh, will we see a change in the starting position, or is there a quarterback controversy? And we're like, no, they have way too much invested in Dak Prescott to do that. Do they have that much invested in Carson Wentz to say? That's what I'm saying. That's why I think this is different. And you could very well see Taylor Heineke be the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season if he does well. And again, it's just like you compare it to like the Dak Prescott thing or the Mac Jones injury. It's like none of these these teams have too much invested in their quarterbacks to have a real true quarterback controversy. They don't have that in Washington. So if Taylor Heineke does well, he will be the starting quarterback. And I think that does end up happening. Like I don't think that the Commanders are going to be that much of a better team in terms of wins and losses, but I think you end up seeing that the quarterback position is not costing you games, and that's what's going to be the difference maker for the Commanders and saying, okay, Heineke's going to be the guy.
I think eventually it's Sam Howell. I think this year Sam Howell ends up being the quarterback by the end of the season, and has nothing to do with Taylor Heineke. I just don't think they're going to win enough games. And when you're at that point, you're eliminated from the playoffs. This guy's Sam Howell, right? So Sam Howell is going to have to be perhaps looking at him to see if he's the future. And I think that's the important part, is because now you run into a situation when you're eliminated from the playoffs. What do we do? Do we just keep playing games just to play games, or do we evaluate our roster? And what's the best way to evaluate the roster is get those guys playing time. So get Sam Howell some playing time late in the season, and maybe you say, you know what? Maybe he can be the guy, and we don't have to draft one early. So that's what I'll be looking for late in the season. But as of this game, look, Green Bay has to win. They have to. They have to win. I don't believe that Green Bay is losing this game. I am going to take the Packers. I think it's just one of those games they have to win. I think they get their offense rolling. I think Aaron Rodgers finds a way to get it done, and they win 28-17.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I do think the Green Bay Packers win this game 29-23. I am still very concerned for the Packers defense. Like I said, they are a bit softer, 27th in yards per rush allowed, highest completion percentage allowed. Not to say Taylor Heineke is going to be that guy who's going to be able to throw all over him, but I am worried about the Packers defense a little bit. But they do get the job done here, and I'm not sure if the red flags are taken down after this win. But the Packers do win here 29-23.